One country eats a breakfast made from the leftover sludge of a beer factory. Another starts every single morning with a spread so big it covers the entire table. And the flaky pastry you think is French? It was never French at all. Here's the most eaten breakfast in every country. Let's start close to home, the United States. Most people picture bacon, eggs, and a stack of pancakes drowning in syrup. But the breakfast that actually feeds most Americans on a normal weekday is cold cereal from a box. And here's the part that catches people off guard. Cornflakes weren't invented as a treat. They were dreamed up by a health-obsessed doctor in the 1890s who wanted a plain, boring food to calm people down. He never imagined it would end up coated in sugar and sold to kids on every TV in the country. Cross the Atlantic to the United Kingdom, home of the full English. This is a loaded plate. Fried eggs, sausages, bacon, baked beans, grilled tomato, mushrooms, and toast. But the piece that stops foreigners cold is the dark disc in the corner. That's black pudding, and it's made from pork blood cooked with oats until it sets solid. The British have eaten it for centuries. To them, it's comfort food. To first-time visitors, it's the moment breakfast gets a little too real. Now France, and that famous flaky croissant. Here's the twist most people never learn. The croissant isn't originally French. Its ancestor is the Austrian Kipferl, carried to Paris in the 1800s, and the French simply perfected it with butter and layered pastry. And a real French breakfast is lighter than you'd expect. Usually just a croissant or a slice of baguette with jam and a big bowl of coffee. No eggs, no bacon. The French treat breakfast as a small, quiet start, not a feast. Just south, in Italy, breakfast is even smaller, and it comes with a rule you can break by accident. Italians grab a cornetto, a soft, sweet cousin of the croissant, and a cappuccino, usually standing up at a bar. But order that cappuccino after about 11 a.m., and every Italian around you will know you're a tourist. They believe all that milk sits too heavy after morning, so past breakfast, it's espresso only. Breaking the cappuccino rule is one of the fastest ways to give yourself away. In Spain, breakfast runs on a completely different clock. Mornings often start with tostada, toasted bread rubbed with fresh tomato, olive oil, and a pinch of salt. But the country's most famous breakfast is churros dipped in thick hot chocolate. And here's the surprising part. Spaniards will happily eat churros at sunrise or at 3 a.m. on the way home from a night out. In Spain, breakfast isn't locked to a time. It's locked to a mood. Head to Germany, where breakfast is a spread built on bread. The table fills up with crusty rolls called brötchen, sliced cold cuts, several kinds of cheese, and a soft-boiled egg standing in its own little cup. Germans take their bread seriously. The country has hundreds of registered varieties, more than almost anywhere on Earth. A German breakfast isn't about cooking. It's about assembling the perfect bite from a table full of options. Now for that table-covering spread I promised you, Turkey. A traditional Turkish breakfast, called kahvaltı, is less a meal and more an event. Cheeses, olives, tomatoes, cucumbers, honey, clotted cream, jams, fresh bread, and eggs cooked into a dish called menemen, all laid out at once. And the name gives away the whole culture. Kahvaltı literally means before coffee, because in Turkey, you eat this feast first, and only then do you sit back with your coffee. Travel to Egypt for maybe the oldest breakfast on this entire list. The national morning dish is full mesdames, fava beans slow-cooked overnight and mashed with olive oil, garlic, cumin, and lemon. People have eaten this exact dish for thousands of years, with traces going all the way back to the time of the pharaohs. Right beside it, you'll often find tamia, Egypt's version of falafel. And here's the twist. Egyptian falafel isn't made from chickpeas like almost everywhere else. It's made from fava beans, the original recipe. In India, breakfast changes completely depending on where you are. Down south, mornings mean idli, soft steamed rice cakes, or a crispy dosa folded around spiced potato, dipped in coconut chutney and sambar. Up north, it's stuffed flatbreads called paratha, cooked on a hot griddle. But one thing ties the whole country together in the morning: chai. Strong black tea boiled with milk, sugar, and spices. For hundreds of millions of people, the day simply does not begin until that first cup. Over in China, breakfast is fast, hot, and eaten on the move. A classic combo is youtiao, a long golden stick of fried dough dunked into warm soy milk. And youtiao comes with a dark little legend. The story goes it was created to mock a corrupt official everyone despised by shaping his likeness in dough and frying him in oil. Alongside it, you'll find congee, a savory rice porridge, and steamed buns called baozi, stuffed with pork or vegetables. In Japan, the traditional breakfast looks almost like a small dinner: steamed rice, a bowl of miso soup, a piece of grilled fish, pickles, and a rolled omelet. But the item that divides visitors is natto, fermented soybeans that are sticky, stringy, and powerfully pungent. Many Japanese eat it every single morning for the health benefits, and swear by it. For a lot of foreigners, though, that first sticky, smelly bite of natto is a breakfast they never forget. Down in Mexico, breakfast is warm, spicy, and built to fuel a full day. One of the most beloved dishes is chilaquiles, crispy tortilla chips simmered in red or green salsa until just soft, then topped with cheese, cream, and a fried egg. There's also huevos rancheros, eggs served over tortillas and smothered in salsa. In Mexico, breakfast isn't shy. It hits you with chili, lime, and flavor before you're even fully awake. In Brazil, mornings are lighter and sweeter, and they revolve around coffee. Café da manhã, which literally means morning coffee, usually means fresh bread, ham, cheese, tropical fruit, and of course, strong Brazilian coffee. The real star, though, is pão de queijo, little warm cheese breads made from tapioca flour. They're crisp outside, chewy inside, and naturally gluten-free. For millions of Brazilians, the smell of pão de queijo and coffee simply is the smell of morning. Push into Russia, where breakfast is warm and built for cold mornings. A common start is kasha, a hot porridge often made from buckwheat. But the real crowd pleasers are serniki, little pan-fried cheese pancakes made from a fresh curd called tvarog, served with sour cream and jam. There's also blini, thin pancakes rolled around anything from jam to caviar. In a country where winter runs deep, breakfast is designed to keep you warm from the inside out. And finally, Australia, home to that beer factory breakfast I opened with. Aussies spread a dark, salty paste called Vegemite on buttered toast, and it actually started as a clever way to use the leftover yeast from beer brewing. It's intensely savory, and the number one mistake outsiders make is spreading it on thick like jam. Do that, and you're in for a rude shock. Australians use only a thin scrape. Loved at home, feared abroad, Vegemite might just be the most divisive breakfast on this entire list. From beer paste toast in Australia to a Pharaoh-era bean dish in Egypt, the first meal of the day says more about a culture than almost anything else. If even one of these surprised you, hit subscribe. We break down the world like this every week. And before you go, tell me in the comments which one of these you'd actually eat tomorrow and which one you'd run away from. I read every single one. To see how these same countries eat for the rest of the day, click the video on your screen right now.